Funny, it didn't dial out to 911. It was trying to reach a private number.
Is it a problem?
No, I'm done here.
Okay, this is not exactly impromptu, but I saw something maybe 2 weeks ago. Commented on somebody's board about it a few times and decided I'd leave it there, but
I do this.
But I saw something today while snooping through some other things, and when I saw what I saw, I was like, hell no. Now, because I'm watching these two fall out. This is Steve and his business partner, Cheshire. They share a YouTube channel. Some of you may remember I talked about them a few months ago on my other channel. Oh, it could have been this channel, I think. But what it looks like is, it's time to pair, but Steve's like, say me and you go rob a bank, and on the way out, I shoot you in the head, pick up the sacks you had in your hand, and I get in the car and drive off.
They wired this thing up with like 5,000 volts. What kind of bank does that?
A mob bank. I guess the Joker's as crazy as they say. Where's the alarm guy?
The boss told me when the guy was done, I should take him out. One less share, right?
Funny, he told me something similar.
No!
That's what it looks like Steve is trying to do to her, and even after all of that help she gave him. And I'm just telling y'all how I got here. So I'm watching people's reaction to Steve and Cheshire's fallout, and one of the videos referred to a dude named Nate the lawyer. I know him. I've known him for a long time. I just haven't watched much of it. Now, Nate is somebody that's been beefing with Steve. So I get to his channel, but I couldn't find the video he did about Steve and Cheshire, but I did see the Young Turks. Now, I told y'all many months ago that I unsubscribed from a bunch of people, and the Young Turks channel was one of them. Nate has a video about them. The video that Nate did about them, it reminded me of what I saw 2 weeks ago. And
I do this. Because this is ridiculous.
now, before I get into my thing, I need to make some things clear about what my concerns are, but I especially need to make clear what my concerns are not. Remember I talked about this?
Can we get the front? Can we get the front?
And her supporters' responses was, why everybody hating on her dress? It's a nice dress. It's a pretty dress. So why everybody mad? When the point really was that she's supposed to be pro-mask wearing, but had no mask on. When the point wasn't her dress, the point was AOC and her ilk been expressing disdain for money and the rich, but she attends an event where tickets were $30,000 apiece. And the dress was made by a rich capitalistic family, while her and her ilk classifies capitalists and capitalism as the evil of the world that needs to be abolished.
Didn't think M&Ms were pushing intolerance, but they were. They've been changed. You're seeing the changes right now on your screen. The green M&M, you will notice, is no longer wearing sexy boots. Now she's wearing sensible sneakers. Why the change? Well, according to M&M's, quote, we all win when we see more women in leading roles, because leading women do not wear sexy boots. Leading women wear frumpy shoes. The frumpier, the better. That's the rule. The other big change is that the brown M&M has, quote, transitioned from high stilettos to lower block heels. Also less sexy. That's progress. M&Ms will not be satisfied until every last cartoon character is deeply unappealing and totally androgynous. Until the moment you wouldn't want to have a drink with any one of them. That's the goal. When you're totally turned off, we've achieved equity. They've won. Meanwhile, in a nod to the burgeoning wellness movement, the orange M&M will, quote, acknowledge and embrace his anxiety. And actually, if you look at him, the orange M&M does appear very anxious. Maybe he doesn't like all the ugly new shoes he sees around him. Maybe he liked the sexy boots. Maybe the orange M&M is a secret sexist himself.
The M&Ms is what I saw 2 weeks ago. But like I said, I thought I was just going to put a few comments on it. And just like it wasn't about the dress, this is not about candy. But people in the comment section of the videos where people were responding to Tucker, the weirdos we know as progressives or the cancel culture woke mob, these people were in the comment sections and even doing live streams saying that Tucker wants to fuck M&Ms. I saw a lot of comments like that, or people were saying that Tucker no longer finds M&Ms attractive. right? They made it about Candy and sexual attractions, but just like with the dress, they know very well why Tucker and others were complaining. They know the real reason. Now, they talked about the anxiety Eminem. But let me show you that this isn't about how Candy looks.
And now we're going to move on to the resolutions and
Very
amendments
brief.
committee.
Very brief point of information. If you are using a microphone, talk into it directly like I am right now, and do not wave your face back and forth because people cannot hear you. That is all.
Okay, awesome. Great. Right
Quick point of privilege. Quick point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Guys, first of all, James Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. I just want to say, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum? I'm one of the people who's very, very prone to sensory overload. There's a lot of whispering and chatter going on. It's making it very difficult for me to focus. Please, can we just, I know we're all fresh and ready to go, but can we please just keep the chatter to a minimum? It's affecting my ability to focus. Thank you.
Point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Yes. Could you get to the mic, please?
Hi, I am Andy P. From Los Angeles, they, them pronouns. Could I please ask the chair to, there was a previous point of privilege about waving around signs, that it is distracting to other comrades. I have autism. This is distracting to me. I would like to ask our fellow delegates, please, to not wave around your signs, especially during voting.
First of all, in this room, I see that no one's clapping for me. It could be because I'm not engaging, but it also is because everyone's doing this. And that's really important, because those loud bursts of noise, even though this is a noisy space, when we can do something like reducing that, that's really important. So please don't clap, shoot up these. If you don't know what to do, show up these, right? I'm sure there's lots of ways that we can communicate to each other without needing to rely on something that's going to hurt somebody else. Quick point of privilege once again. Hi, James Jackson, Sacramento DSA, he, him. I have already asked people to be mindful of the chatter of their comrades who are sensitive to sensory overload, and that goes double for the heckling and the hissing. It is also triggering to my anxiety. Like, the be comradely isn't just for, like, let's keep things civil or whatever. It's so that people aren't going to get triggered and so that it doesn't affect their performance as a delegate, okay?
Remember I played that a while back? That was a woke conference. Progressives. Saw all them people coming to the mic talking about their anxiety. People in the audience with their hands raised, waiting to express how frightened and unnerved they are at everything. Tucker's concerns had nothing to do with Candy. Or remember I was telling you about Minnie Mouse's new makeover, and I told you that my concern is not about a cartoon or about what a cartoon is wearing? I'm going to get to the Young Turks in a second, but what might happen to them reminds me of a dude who I talked about before who called himself chastising people for complaining about how the woke mob wanted to remove all male identifiers from Mr. Potato Head. And he was like, it's just a toy. Same kind of responses like people were saying, it's just a dress. Then maybe 10 days later, he on his channel, same dude, complaining about how they wanted to cancel Pepe the Pew. And I'm thinking, no. It's just a cartoon. So why you mad? But here are the Young Turks. Big faces of the cancel culture progressive woke mob movement.
Game of Thrones star Peter Dinklage recently slammed Disney for its upcoming live-action remake of Snow White because they are still using dwarfs in the storyline. And since it's live action, they're going to use actual people. And he doesn't like the fact that they're being portrayed that way. Okay, namely Dylan Postel, who's also known as Hornswoggle. He's a WWE guy, and here's what he had to say about this, backlash towards Snow White on Tucker Carlson's show.
I mean, my biggest thing is he wants to be progressive, and it's all about progression, and I support that completely. But the issue is him being progressive is eliminating 7 potential dream jobs from the dwarf acting community.
And I think that's a legitimate perspective as well, right? There aren't a lot of roles for By the way, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm gonna be super authentic and vulnerable here. I don't know if it's even okay to say dwarf. Like, is that okay? I don't know.
So,
I don't want this to come back to bite me in the ass like 10 years later.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. So look, I had the same question, and the articles clearly refer to dwarves. Will they later change the rule? Very likely. Will they then have video compilations of us saying the word and hold us guilty in hindsight?
Yeah.
Of course they will. And so am I referring to the left? Yes, I am. Okay, and so it's an insane standard. It makes no sense. But since right now, as things stand, everybody is using the word dwarf, I guess we will too. So you can hold us guilty later and invent a time machine so we could fix it as well.
You know, like.
No, that's true, Anna, but I want to add something really important to that, because all this stuff affects us in ways that we don't even realize. It's just kind of like programming for our brains. And so, yeah, of course you're right about that. I of course felt the same way, and I had a couple of the dwarves as like, and I had a couple of and hold us guilty in hindsight.
Yeah,
of course they will.
Of course they will, he said. But who is they? Who is the they he's talking about? The Turks were some of the people accusing Tucker and others of overreacting to M&M's and Minnie Mouse. But you hear them there worried about how their own mob might be coming for them next. That's who they are. And that's what Nate pointed out on his channel. And I typed, be careful what you asked for because you just might get it. And that was aimed at the Turks, not Nate.
Holocaust isn't about race. It's not about race. What is it about? Because it's about man's inhumanity to man.
Whoopi Goldberg has been suspended from ABC's The View for 2 weeks after those controversial comments about the Holocaust.
We saw the thing with Whoopi Goldberg. What goes around comes around. Her woke mob cancel culture mentality. Years she's been screaming that this person needs to get canceled, that person needs to get canceled. Right, be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. Something that Nate said, a point that he brought up, and I'm going to put it in my own words. My own words are, I did no victory dance over the Whoopi thing, the Young Turks thing, or any of the other incidents where people's own crews turns on them and shoots them in the back of the head. But Nate put it as, whether you're on the right or the left, this should concern us all. Everybody should be as worried as the Turks were. Like, I get absolutely no gratification when I hear about one of these people died after taking the cure. When before they died from it, they were attacking the uncured, calling us the problem. I get nothing out of that because I know my turn might be coming one day where I'll be forced to take the cure. But on second thought, to be completely honest, I got to be completely honest, I do kind of have a little, tiny bit of I told you so in me when I see these people get muzzled by their own sensitivity police. But just a little bit. But overall, no. Nothing to feel victorious or vindicated about because this stuff is coming for all of us. Right? And again, it's not about cartoons. It's not about clothes. It's not about toys. It's not about candy either. Right? In the description box, I'll have Nate's video and a video from a lady named Khadijah who was talking about how there are people who want doctors to stop weighing people before examinations. Why? Well, because it triggers anxiety in people. So again, this is not about candy or any of that other stuff. It's about weirdos who want to restrict the freedoms of everybody. Same thing I said about the tearing down of statues. I told people, never mind the statues of races being torn down. Don't get caught up in your feelings about races because their aim is the same as with M&M's and Mr. Potato Head. They're up to no good. And this is why I don't come on here celebrating when Trump got banned from social media. I don't celebrate what happened to Joe Rogan, even though only clowns say the kind of stuff that he says. But I don't like seeing these folks who feel they need to apologize or made to apologize. Because when I see people apologizing, it reminds me of all the appeals that I've had to submit after I get flagged or when my other channels got terminated. Right, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen pro-censorship people look up one day and see someone that they like getting banned or just targeted to be censored. They'll complain. They'll complain because while they were wishing gag orders on other people, they didn't even have enough foresight to see that they can get that woke work too.